What is up, nation? It is your boy Duo, and I am here to bring to you guys a repeat offender deck list. I came back to the OTS with the same Dogmatika Shaddoll deck. I tweaked a little bit, but still the same bread and butter, and I was able to win again. We have this sick playmat right here, and it's really sick. I love this. It says champion because I'm the champ. So I'm going to show you guys the deck that I used to become champion. So obviously, I call this deck D.I.S.H because it's Dogmatika Invoked Shaddoll Hero. So just keep that in mind. So we're going to start off with 3 copies of Alistair, pretty bread and butter. 3 copies of Ecclesia, again, pretty bread and butter. And then we have 3 copies of Dogmatika Maximus. Now, a lot of people aren't a fan of Maximus, but I really think that with Nadir's Servant at 2, you need to double down on this card. It just does so much, and it allows you to play through stuff like Scythe. So I definitely think that this card is a must at 3. Then we are going to have our 1 copy of Fleur d'Elite, and then I'll do it for the Shaddolls. And then for some extra techie stuff, we have our Magician Souls. This card came in so handy. Magician Souls has a unique interaction with the Dogmatika cards because it just says send a level 6 or higher spellcaster monster from your deck to the graveyard. So this can be Maximus, this can be Fleur d'Elite. It sends both of these, so you're not really worried about. You don't have to play any type of Garnets or Illusion of Chaos. It just rocks by itself, and it's a really good extender. So I definitely recommend this card. Then we are going to be playing our little hero package. This is standard. And then going on to the hand traps. Hand traps are incredibly important. They are an absolute must. I went for an ultimate blowout hand trap lineup. So we have 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. I think that this is the future of hand trap lineups. You absolutely got to play this. And then 3 copies of Lancia. This is pretty popular, so I'm not really going to go into too much. Then we have 3 copies of Ash and 1 copy of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. I feel like outside of Droll, Lancia, Ash, and Imperm, the value of hand traps starts to drop off significantly. So I just needed 1 more hand trap to fill my deck, and I felt like people were gassing up Ogre, and I just decided to run with it, and I think it did pretty good. I sided a 2nd copy, but I really liked it. So that'll do it for the monsters, and moving on to the spells and traps. 3 copies of Magical Meltdown and 2 copies of Invocation Standard. And then we have our 2 copies of Nadir's Servant, 2 copies of Fusion Destiny, all standard. Then we are going to use our Terraforming, our Call by the Grave, and our Upstart for our 1-ofs. I feel like you have to play Upstart in this deck just because it naturally does not have a lot of starters. It doesn't have a lot of accessibility. You can't get to everything as quickly outside of DPE, obviously. So I felt that playing Upstart was a must. Call by the Grave is a really good anti-Scythe, anti-hand trap. I think it just covers everything, and people should be playing it. And then Terraforming to search the Meltdown. That'll do it for the spells. And then our 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence and our 1 copy of Shaddoll Schism. I think that outside of Schism and like Winda, the Shaddoll engine is not that good. So I think that you should just stick to the bare bones engine of just the 1 Schism, and then go put everything else in the extra deck. So that's going to do it for the main. Let's move on to the extra deck. We have our DPE Standard. Everyone loves this card. Okay, real talk, this card requires no skill. It carried me through so many matchups. I hate this card, but I have to play it because I want to win. And then we have 2 copies of Mechaba, 1 Purgatrio, 1 Agoides. I felt that 2 Mechaba was coming up a lot. I was going to play 1, but I definitely am glad I decided to play 2. Purgatrio, obviously, for damage, and then Agoides is just really good at breaking through boards, so I definitely recommend this core. And then for our Sens, we have 2 copies of Elder Entity and Tis, 1 copy of Fossil Warrior Skull Knight, and 1 copy of Titaniclad the Ash Dragon. I think that this was pretty good. The second Intis came up occasionally, and I think that it's definitely worth running. Obviously, Skull Knight is good, and so is the Titaniclad. I wouldn't change anything here. And then for our Shaddolls, we have App Cologne, Construct, and Winda. I decided to put Construct in. It actually never came up, but honestly, I still would keep it in just in case it ever does come up. And then for our links, our Linky boys, we have the standard link package. You absolutely gotta play this. I think that the El Mirage and Secure Garnet is infinitely better with Dogmatika than playing the Artemis. So I definitely think that this is correct. I spent a lot of thought on the extra deck, and I'm pretty confident that that is probably about as optimal as you can get. So moving on to the side deck, we have Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. The second copy, as I was telling you, I had 14 cards on the side, so I just decided to fill it up with one more Ghost Ogre. And then 3 copies of Gamma Seal and 2 copies of Sphere Mode. I was really worried about the based decks as well as like Scythe Locks and whatnot, so I felt that Gamma Seal was just really good, and it came in very handy for sure. And then Sphere Mode, just in case there was some crazy blowout deck that I didn't prepare for. This didn't come up at all, but this definitely did, so I definitely recommend Gamma Seal. And then we have a little engine, everyone's favorite Scythe Boy, the 3 Artifact Sanctum and the 1 Scythe. You side this just as a anti-blowout, like what's it called? Lightning Storm, evenly matched. This just helps you play through that and get to your next turn. You can also use Sanctum to summon Lancia from your deck, which is super important. Don't ever forget that. Don't be an idiot. Lancia is really good. But also Scythe just stops the game. Ban this card. And then for the back row hate, we are going to be playing 1 Lightning Storm, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, and then 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. I didn't really know like what these 2 slots should have been, so I was worried about Eldritch, and I think there was a Weather Painter deck here maybe. But primarily Eldritch is just super scary, like there's no real way to out skill drain, so I definitely wanted to be ready to side heavy for back row decks, and it definitely came in clutch. I did beat an Eldritch with these cards. But outside of that, that will do it for the profile. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you guys have any questions, be sure to drop them in the comments section. But with that being said, I'm really tired, so I'm gonna go take a nap. See you guys in the next one. Peace.